how do we just get our kids home? And because that's what we're fearing, is to lose our other two.
Welcome back. This is The Secret, How to Fight Child Protective Services and Win. I'm Cynthia Becker, and I'm here with attorney Vince Davis. Hey, Vince, I just want to remind everybody before we take our next caller that if you are interested in sharing your CPS horror story, to go to my Facebook page, the reality series, CPS The Horror Stories, and send us a private message so that I can interview you and we can share your CPS horror story. We're going to take another caller now, and it's Brittany from Colorado. Hey, Brittany, are you there?
Yes, I am.
Hi, how are you?
I'm all right. How about you?
Good, thank you for asking. Do you have a story to tell or a question to ask?
A little bit of both, actually.
Okay, go ahead.
So my case started back in 2018 when my daughter was born. She was born positive, of course, and that's when my case opened of July 17th. So during obviously we've been dealing with him for 3 years, going on 3 years, yeah. And as we've heard, it's only supposed to go on for like a year. We've been doing everything that they've been telling us to do. We had our third child last year, April 26th of last year. He died in custody of Child Protective Services on Christmas morning, but also in the custody of Children's Hospital. They completely closed out his case, and we're not even allowed to speak about his case at all. And so, as I'm trying to say, is we've been doing everything we're supposed to do. They keep throwing more hurdles in our way. We've been doing the UAs, me and my fiance, sorry. And also, now they're asking for a hair follicle, which the judge never ordered it. They're ordering it outside of court. So I don't know. My question is, how do we just get our kids home? And because that's what we're fearing, is to lose our other two.
Do you have an attorney?
Yes, and they just seem to keep wanting to do what CPS keeps telling us to do.
Right. That's one strategy. Have you tried to find a local attorney or an attorney there in Colorado that might be able to help you with your case?
Yeah, well, so originally my mom was trying to get custody, not custody, but, you know, temporary placement, but they weren't letting them live with my mom. And then my mom passed away during my case 2 years ago. So they even placed our children with some random neighbors of my fiance's grandparents, because they were the first placement. Then second placement was the neighbors, and now third placement is my fiance's cousin. But my mom was getting an attorney, and then she passed away, so that closed out.
I'm sorry to hear about your mom, but you should still be looking for an attorney to consult with.
Okay.
You know, a lot of attorneys give free consultations or low-cost consultations, but you need to talk to someone. From listening to you, you seem to know a little bit about what's going on, but there's a lot that
Mhm.
I can tell that you're not sure about. And that has to be explained to you because you can't develop a strategy and implement a strategy without knowing what's going on in the
Right.
case. Does that make sense?
Okay. Yeah, and then not only that, we've had like three caseworkers, so it's just like a whole new personality each case, you know.
Hmm.
And then I was even told I wasn't even liked at the beginning, so I feel like that was already the direction of our path, you know.
Yeah, did the social worker tell you that you weren't
Oh
liked?
yeah.
And I don't know if she's or he's playing mind games with you, but if a
She's
social
retired now.
uh, if a social worker does anything wrong, you can always make a complaint at the federal level with the Department of Health and Human Services. And although it does take a little bit of time, these people do investigate parents' complaints against social workers because they realize that there's social worker abuse. Let's face it, anytime a human being is involved in anything,
Hmm.
there's going to be shortcomings,
Okay.
including social workers. So that's what you're going to have to do. I would try to find someone. The website that Cynthia is mentioning, cpsattorneyrolodex.com, is just getting up and running. And we're trying to get more and more attorneys to register. But you need to do your own uh, investigation through Google, through the local bar association, and try to find a local attorney that you can have a consultation with.
Okay.
And here,
Okay.
and here's something that I'm starting to do.
Mhm.
I'm starting to have, before I meet with people, I have them type up a brief history or story about the case, and
Okay.
also get me the last, couple of social worker reports, the last couple of minute orders from the court, so that I can review that either at the time of meeting with them or before meeting with them, so I'll have, some idea of what's going on in the case. There was a caller earlier who was, in my opinion, just lost. She didn't know what was going on. And and then she talks to me and say we're at my office and she was talking to me, she couldn't tell me anything significant where I can say, hey, I can help you do this, this, or that. She just didn't
Mhm.
know. So when you talk to the attorney, you might be able to tell the attorney, hey, I have a few page summary, factual summary. I have the minute orders. I have the last couple of social worker report. May I send that to you so you can review before we talk? And I bet a lot of attorneys would appreciate that.
Okay.
Okay?
Okay. I will definitely keep that in mind.
All right. Any other?
Also, I did have a question about my son who passed away because he was in foster care, kinship placement, but
When
it
did that
wasn't
happen?
our choice.
When did that happen?
So he was born with a heart condition. First of all, it's called HLHS. So pretty much most of his life he was living in the hospital, Children's Hospital, but then he was released September, wasn't it? Yeah, September 27th. And so he was living with the kinship placement that wasn't even our choice. They went behind our backs and just listened to my fiance's family about placement options and never asked us. So, and to the last minute. And so then what ended up happening, his feeding tube was leaking, and so they took him into the emergency room at Children's Hospital, and Children's Hospital called me that morning at 4 o'clock in the morning asking for permission to work on him, and they ended up they didn't even inform us that he was already in cardiac arrest, but they were only asking permission to work on his feeding tube. So then, fast forwarding, he was in the hospital November 17th, and he died Christmas morning.
Of 2020?
Yes.
Okay. Well, Brittany, we're running out of time here tonight,
Yeah.
but
2 minutes.
I would like you to write down my telephone number, and I'd like you to call me tomorrow, and we'll discuss that some more. My telephone number is 888-888-6582. Now, I realize tomorrow's Sunday, Easter Sunday, but there will be people answering my phones, and you can call and make an appointment or leave a message, and I'll get back with you either Monday or
And I
Tuesday.
actually talked with True too.
Oh, you have talked to Drew. Okay.
Yes, I have.
Okay, well, just,
And
call and ask for True. I think she works Monday and Tuesday.
Okay.
All right?
and Brittany,
Yeah.
before we go, Vince, I'd like to, Brittany, I'd love to interview. I'd like to interview you and hear your story. So if you could call me,
Got 1 minute.
626-594-5526. I'd love to interview you and get your story out for people to hear.
Hey, Brittany,
Thank you so much.
thank you for calling and thank you for listening. Give us an update in 3 or 4 weeks. All right? So, folks, we've reached the end of the show, and I want to thank everybody for calling in. Thank everybody for listening. This has been The Secret, How to Fight Child Protective Services and When. I'm attorney Vince Davis with my co-host Cynthia Becker. We'll see you next week on the radio.
All right, Vince, you have a good one. Can you disconnect? Because we have somebody trying to dial into that access.